peaches, welcome to today's video. So today we have a very fun video. It is fall time and I know I'm like a little bit late to this trend, but fall I feel like is a way of life. Like I love the fall season and I try to maximize it as much as possible. But I do, me personally, okay, I like to have decor to decorate for the seasons, but I really hate just like having boxes of like crap in my garage full of just like things I can only use for 1 month of the year. And if you guys haven't noticed by now, like my house is very much full of orange and green, and so orange is definitely a big fall color. We have a lot of nudes and browns, and that may not be for everyone, but I really like to kind of like use fall decor throughout every season. And I'm not really a fan of the super cheesy decor, like the it's fall y'all. I like the like classy elevated look, So that being said, I know it's a little late, but oh well, who cares? Today we're gonna do 5 different crafts. Some of the supplies I did already have at home, but most of it I got from the 99-cent store, and I figure most people have a 99-cent store by then. So that being said, today everything that we're gonna make in this video is very affordable. Also, everything in this can be used for fall, but are also transitional pieces through the different seasons. So you can just change them up depending on what month it is. Or you could just use them as your everyday decor pieces. It's been a while since we've done a DIY here on this channel and I thought it would be fun. So if you want to make some dollar store decor today, then keep on watching. So all the other decor pieces in this video you can use year round, but I had to include a pumpkin for the fall. So I got this pumpkin from Target for $3, but you can definitely pick one up at the dollar store. Doesn't matter the color, but you just want to like the shape. And the first thing you want to do is remove the stem because we're not going to be using that at the beginning. So once you have the stem out and you have the pumpkin that you like the shape of, then you're going to take some type of sticker. I liked these pearls and we're going to be using those to add texture to the veins and add some interest. So I just first went in with different sizes. I have a 1, 2, and 3 strand pearls, and I wanted to see what looked the nicest and figure out my plan. So I didn't know if I was going to do them all the same or if I was going to do a pattern. So plan that out first. Then there's 2 options. I didn't really know what I was going to do. So first I put all of my pearls onto the pumpkin and I was going to paint over it so that you weren't seeing the pearls but you had some texture, and you can totally do that. But I didn't really like how it was looking. It kind of just made it too matte and I wanted that shine. So I decided to take off all of my creations and paint. That's why you can see here I start painting over it first, and it's a great look, but I was using baking soda in my paint and it just wasn't covering the way I wanted it to. But either way works perfectly fine. Anyways, so whether you decide to do the pattern before or after the paint, it doesn't matter. The next step is to paint. So I mixed a little bit of baking soda into my paint, which is a big trend right now to make whatever you're painting look more like a clay type of design. Now you don't have to do that, you can just do paint without the baking soda, it's totally up to you. It did take about 3 coats, so I noticed that it was best to kind of just do like normal paint the first 2 coats and then add more of the baking soda to the 3rd coat to get it the most like coverage. Anyways, you want to keep going until you can't see the base color. Again, if you like the color of your pumpkin, you can skip this step, but I think the painted pumpkin makes it look really nice, especially with that baking soda. It doesn't look as plasticky and looks a lot more expensive. Don't forget to let it dry between each coat because that's very important. Once it is all dry, then you're going to start doing your design. So as I said, I got 3 different sizes of the pearls, and my inspiration was like the Cinderella pumpkin. So I just started by doing the 1 strand pearls like opposite of each other and then going in between that to make a grid of 4. And when you do it, you can kind of just pull it and it will automatically go into like the groove of the pumpkin. Our whole goal is to use these as the veins, and you want to make sure that they're evenly spaced, that they're going straight as possible. Now for the design I did, I then went in with the second strand, the 2 strands, and I went to the right of all of the single strands. Now every pumpkin's probably going to have different amount of like veins, and so you can do whatever design you like. This is just the one I like, and I did, and I thought it turned out really good. So I just go to every single strand and just go to the right of it. So I'm going to end up with 4 as well of this one, and then I'm going to do the same process with our 3 strands, and that will complete our pumpkin. I liked the different textures, and I also liked the shine. It really reminded me of Cinderella, and I'm very happy with the pattern. But again, you can totally do whatever you want with this, and it doesn't have to be pearls. Just make sure that once all of them are stuck on, you go back through and you really press everything down. I went back through for each individual strand and just really made sure to push them down, because although they are sticky, they are still only stickers and there's no glue on them. And we want to make sure that this beautiful pumpkin lasts us many autumns and many seasons, and we can reuse it. So just make sure that everything is really well secured. Once everything's in place, to finish this off, we have to do the stem. So I just took mine and I spray painted it gold. You could use something else as a stem if you didn't like the one it came with, but I thought that just by adding some paint to this, it really did elevate it and make it that whole Cinderella vibe. So I actually think that it turned out perfectly. I liked the stem it came with, but does that not remind you of the pumpkin in Cinderella? For our second project, we're going to have the easiest one of the day. We're going to start with 3 different candles of different sizes. Pick a color that you like or that matches your house or something fall-y. These ones are very fall colors and they match my house, so it's a win-win. Then you can use some pumpkins or fall decor, and you're going to need this Victorian style mirror, and you're just going to spray paint it whatever color you want. I liked gold. In my house, I really am inspired by antique and like Victorian, so I loved the swirls of this mirror. And then I just took the plastic off of the candles. We're not gluing anything down because as the candles burn, we want to be able to replace them, and we want to be able to replace the pumpkin as the seasons change. So then you want to just take your candles and arrange them in a way you like them, and you are good to go. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Moving on to our cheapest project in this video, you're just going to need picture frames. So I went to the dollar store and found frames that I like. You can pick any size, any frame that you like, and then you're going to find a print off of Pinterest or any type of picture that you can draw yourself. So I found 2 words, and that's what I liked, so I just removed the plastic from the picture frames. And once you have your photo, then you're just going to want to put that into the frame. So remove the back, leave the glass, take out the stock photo, and put your photo back in. Now, me personally, I picked words that reminded me of the fall season and the holiday season, and that just worked for me. And I think it's a really nice way, instead of just putting a cheesy quote that says happy fall y'all, I found a way for me personally that I thought was a cool like inspiration and feeling that I get with fall. So that's what I chose. You can pick anything you want. It can be a drawing, it can be a line drawing, because you know I love those. It can be any quote that you want, but once you have it in the frames, then you're going to want to start drawing. So You can use any Sharpie or paint marker. It's kind of difficult because you don't want a paint marker that is too thick because then you won't be able to see your letters, especially if it's small like this. So try out a few different markers until you have one that you like. Honestly, the more narrow the better because you'll have more control and you can go in and thicken the lines, whereas if it's too thick, you can't really make it any thinner. But you just go over your drawing until you've covered all of the black. Once you take your paper out, this is what it will look like. And so we are not done. You could leave it like that and just put it on your wall like that with a white background, but I wanted to add a second dimension so it was a little bit easier to read, and I just added some paint and I covered the entire back. You don't need too thick of a layer, but I did want to make sure that all my brush strokes were like flicking out, as you can see there. I just thought it looked a little more messy, but in a controlled, good way. Now, if you wanted to skip this step, you totally could and just put like a black piece of construction paper or something like that so that you could see what your sign says. But if you don't have that, you can definitely do this, and I really like how it turned out. Here's me doing the whole process again for my second one. Honestly, I want to make a whole collection of these with a whole bunch of different words that I like the meaning of and have almost like a gallery wall of just like inspirational, awesome words that provoke feeling. But just so you can see this process one more time, here you go. So once you've left your paint to dry all the way, then you can just put the backing right back in. I liked the color of my backing, so I left it as is. It had a little bit of texture, but if you don't, then you would just put like a white piece of paper or a black piece of paper or any really color that you want. But as long as you have something in the back, first off to keep the glass in, and second of all to just fill in any area that didn't have paint on it. I really like how this turned out, and I definitely will be making more of these, plus they're so cheap. For our fourth project, we have to do a centerpiece, so we're going to start off with 4 candlesticks with a candle holder, some 3 pumpkins, and some moss. Now I'm using pumpkins because it is autumn, and we're going to start by taking out these succulents. If your pumpkins don't have it, it's fine, but you may want to remove the stems. I just found smaller pumpkins that would fit on my base, and then I wanted to change those stems, so I just used some rope and cut a teeny little piece off and basically stuck one end in. You could leave it like that, but it basically is just going to fall out, so I just did a little loop and tucked both into the hole, and it ended up sticking fine for me. You could also glue it if that's easier for you, but I thought this was totally a fine way to do it, and honestly I actually really like how it looks. Next up, we're going to take our tray and we're going to put our candles inside, and then we're going to place our pumpkins. Now you can change these through the seasons, but you're just going to want to arrange them until you like them, and then cover the rest of the tray with moss. And the moss I was not able to find at the dollar store. I did get it at Michael's, which makes this project a little more expensive. But I think it's worth it because you can honestly change out the pumpkins for birds during the springtime or watermelons during the summer. So it can really change with you, and it's a great classic base. So it can grow with you, and it's really cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And for our final project, we have to include a wreath. So I just started with like a wreath round hoop from Michael's again because they didn't have any at the dollar store. You could use an embroidery hoop as well, but this one is what I found. And I just took some dried eucalyptus. Now you could do plastic florals, you could do an embroidery hoop or like a gold hoop. There's lots of options, but I really like how dried eucalyptus looks, and I think it has more of an elevated look than plastic flowers. Realistically, any dried flowers I think are just a little more beautiful and sophisticated. So the first thing you want to do is just place your greenery around what's going to take up the base of it. Let me remind you that weight is going to change how your hoop sits on your door, so be sure to think of that. I did not. And my goal was for my hoop to kind of be sitting at, like, my decor part to be sitting at like the 8 area of the clock, and it ended up, because it was so heavy, trying to go more towards the 6. So just keep that into mind. Play around with some different greeneries and dried flowers. But once you like where your placement is, then you're gonna kind of I like to take a picture of it, but just so I can remember, but you're gonna take it all off and glue it down in place, and make sure that you really hold it until the glue dries. Otherwise, it's not gonna stick. I'm just using hot glue. I'm sure you could use super glue if you wanted to as well. Be careful not to burn yourself, but just keep holding it in place until you like it and keep adding to it. So I just glued the branches to the hoop, the first base level, and then I went back and glued it onto the next layer onto the first layer of branches, which was a little challenging, but luckily it's not too heavy and I didn't pile too much on. So again, remember your weight and just keep building until you like it, and then make sure that you cut off the excess cross section so it's not sticking out, and remember to cover your cross sections so when you're shopping, buy things that will cover it. I really like how this wreath turned out because I can use it all year, but it also definitely has a tribute to the autumn season. Alright, so those were today's projects. I hope that you enjoyed them. Honestly, I'm so happy with how all of them turned out. I think that they're really fun and super affordable, super simple to do, and I hope that you try them. If you do, let me know how it turns out for you guys. Leave in the comments if there's any other DIYs you want me to do or try out. I know there's a lot on TikTok right now, so if you've seen any videos that you want me to recreate, let me know. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe down below to see more of me. And don't forget to turn on that bell notification so you get notified every time I post. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye!